Well, everyone, we've made it to March. 3 months in, brand new president. A lot has gone on. I don't know how much longer I can say a lot has gone on. We're still dealing with COVID. We will still be dealing with COVID for some time. Not everyone is vaccinated, even with vaccinations. There'll be repeat rounds of vaccinations. There's a lot of anger in this world. There's a lot of divisiveness in this world about COVID, about how it was handled, how it is being handled, about the presidency, about politics. That's just here in the United States, and that's just a few obvious issues. There's a lot of anger and a lot of divisiveness. How many of you have heard of pacifism? A pacifist isn't just someone who isn't violent, is non-violent. A pacifist, in order to be a pacifist, you have to be capable of being violent, of inflicting violence, aggression, pain, destruction, and other destructive actions, attitudes, and mentalities upon others. If you have mental health conditions or personality disorders, or even if you are just extraordinarily stressed, dealing with interpersonal issues, dealing with financial stresses, health conditions can make us short-tempered. Keeping our anger in check is a critical skill to learn in life. My mom used to say, you'll get farther with honey than you do with vinegar. If you have no anger, you have a problem. In the greater world and in your inner world. If you see wrongs in the world, if you see someone being mistreated, if you see things that are wrong, and it doesn't bother you, it doesn't frustrate and upset you, it doesn't incite something in you, a flame, a fury in you, then you have to learn to expand your empathy a little bit stronger, to think longer and harder about the world larger than your own certain sphere, your own individual feelings and the feelings of your own particular sphere of influence. Because everybody matters to somebody, and injustices in the world should incite anger. It is the anger that it incites, the upset that it incites, that causes us to take positive action in the greater world. And on an individual healing, wholeness, mental health, better relationships, maintaining peace and calm and centeredness inside of us, and doing the right things, having beneficial reactions and interactions with other people, not getting ourselves into a heap of trouble or regret disciplining anger. If you do not experience anger, if you're one of those people, and that would be me by and large, for things that you justly should have felt anger for, like childhood trauma, and you've never felt any anger toward people who have violated or hurt you. You're supposed to move through these emotions, process them and heal and let the anger go. But at some point in the process, you're supposed to feel anger. People get frustrated. Couples disagree and they bicker, preferably in a healthy way. Conflict and conflict resolution. If you are never unhappy, not never unhappy, but never angry, even for things that you should justifiably have felt anger for, that often turns inward and turns into depression, self-hatred, self-loathing, low self-esteem, and potentially even self-harm. Violence against oneself. It implodes, and you don't even recognize your sorrow, your depression, and your self-loathing is based on unexpressed anger that you never processed. And in interpersonal conflict, if there is none, ever, there's a sign that you are not standing up for yourself. You are not speaking your mind. You are not communicating effectively your wants, needs, and desires, setting boundaries, and speaking your voice in a relationship. Whatever the relationship is, whether that is a neighbor, a co-worker, your spouse, your children, there is going to be some level of anger, some level of frustration and issue when dealing with other people. And if you never feel that, you are repressing it. However, there is a healthy way to address conflict, disagreement, miscommunication, express and explore anger and frustration interpersonally, within yourself, within your emotions, within your life, within your circumstances, and process and deal with that effectively. And in the world, to use the injustice that fuels anger to fuel proactive action toward a betterment of the situation. This long entry leads me into the quote. "He is a fool who cannot be angry." Because if you can't be angry, that means that you aren't bothered by the things that are wrong with the world. And you should be. It should tug at your heartstrings. Some things should strike you as wrong now and again because some things are wrong. And if you're not angry when you're crossed, you're not sticking up for yourself. You're not addressing it effectively. You're allowing people to walk all over you. And at worst case scenario, if you've been truly violated and you really should be angry and process through those emotions, it turns inward to self-loathing, hatred, depression, and self-destruction. So he is a fool who cannot be angry, but he is a wise man who will not. There's a difference between not having the capacity to become angry and choosing not to express and exhibit anger, violent, vitriol behavior. That is a pacifist. A pacifist is perfectly capable and able of getting upset, perfectly capable and able of setting boundaries, perfectly capable and able of seeing the injustices in the world, in their situation, when they have been crossed, when they have been wronged, when they feel and sense anger and they can accept and not fear and reject and push down those feelings and address them in an appropriate, safe, peaceful, and productive, non-violent, rational manner. So keep your anger in check. Check if you have anger. You should have anger from time to time. It's one of the most common human emotions. Take it from somebody who scarcely ever does. I struggle with bundling that stuff inward as a self-bomb waiting to explode. Stand up for yourself, set boundaries. Be stronger, be more confident. Say something when you see something. Address problems when they come up. Be more firm. Be willing to engage in healthful conflict. Be willing to contain uncontained anger. If you are the type who just lets it all fly, lets it all loose, lets it all out, you're also a fool. Because violence never solves anything. Anger, bitterness, in an explosive and uncontrolled way, never solves problems. You can't solve a problem by creating a new one, and all it does is create new problems for yourself, in your relationships, in your situation, on your job, in your surroundings. So contain it. Have the capacity to feel it, to identify it, to express it, to channel it, to address it effectively, timely, appropriately. Have the capacity to even be rageful. Know full well that you could be even rageful. But you are wise enough to choose not to. Be a pacifist. Don't pacify. Be a pacifist. It will help your overall life dramatically when you learn to healthfully process anger. He is a fool who cannot be angry, but he is a wise man who will not. Good morning, goodbye, good March. Peace, love, joy. Allies, keep calm, carry on, doing what you're doing to be closer to happy. Even if that's being angry from time to time. That's okay. It's how you handle that anger that matters.